Welcome, everybody, to Cup with Gup, PGA deep dive and final thoughts for the AT&T Byron Nelson. Wednesday, May 11th. I know everybody's excited for PGA Championship, and the pricing dropped kind of a little early, in my opinion. For instance, Brooks withdraws this morning and may not play next week. We don't know what if he's re-injured or anything like that, but I guess I don't fully see the purpose of putting it out. I get it, the early pricing for sure, maybe Thursday, Friday, but it is what it is. So those kind of guys, it'll cause some potentially cause some underpricing or overpricing, depending on how it works out. But hopefully that kind of distracts people. I guess I hadn't looked at pricing once. I'll start diving in, Thursday, Friday, probably do the pod, Sunday morning, something like that, like I have been doing. And then continue the week as normal. I want to focus on the Byron Nelson because there's still plenty of money to be won there. If you want to join us and you have not yet, use the code PGA Champ. Get 30% off any package. That does include a 7-day risk-free trial. So if you sign up today on Wednesday, you will get all the stuff from this week because you can just hop on the site and look at it, plus all the PGA Championship stuff for free. If you decide to cancel, you cancel. You don't lose $1. You like what we got going, then you stay with us. Rate and review us on iTunes. I will be doing free giveaways next week during the PGA Championship. The way you get into it is buy, rate, and review us on iTunes or because you can get in multiple times, subscribe to this channel on YouTube, like this video for me, and in the comment section, tell me who your favorite play in the 9K range is this week. I think that's going to be a significant, really the 9 and 10K range, but now that Brooks is out, a lot of ownership going to be swallowed up by those top 4 or 5 guys in that 9K range. I want to know who your favorite play is there. Listener League is in the description. It's probably way less than 100 spots left. Get in there now, get that filled up so we can have a big PGA Championship. I hope to drop the Listener League for the PGA Championship tomorrow. So fill this up early this afternoon, and I'm going to ask for, just like we have for the Masters, probably 500-600 spots. Have a big, nice first place prize next week for hometown PGA Championship here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I say hometown because both my kids were born there, and I was there for 10 years. I'm born and raised Oklahoma City, but same difference, about 90 minutes away from here. So I will be up there several times next week as well. Deep dive and final thoughts on the week. Weather course setup, it's going to be hot. It's humid. I was down there yesterday, not at the course, but I was working in Dallas. Very hot, very humid. Feel like is 99, 100. Some of these guys, especially if they played last week in Maryland where it was 50 on Sunday, kind of a wake-up call for them. Still plenty of wind. It's been windy here. April was the windiest month in the history of Oklahoma, which is crazy because we're known for wind. And it was more on the constant winds. Like it just didn't stop blowing. Last night, I think we got up to like 30, 40 mile an hour. We got some spots today in Oklahoma, which this applies to Texas too. They're going to hit 60, 70 mile an hour winds. It looks like the tournament will have winds, but starts to die down a little bit, which is kind of good. But you got in Texas, Oklahoma, that kind of stuff, like 15 to 20 is like normal. So we don't really consider that super windy. Whereas I know on tour and stuff, when we see that, you kind of start thinking that's pretty windy. But for this area, the winds look relatively fine. I don't see, you'll have gusts and stuff like that, but I don't see it being horrible. I don't see a weather draw at all. There's no rain in the forecast. Have had plenty of rain, like I mentioned. Course should be fairly dried out, but you still have the Georgia fairways, which are sticky, doesn't roll out a lot. I think it's going to play fairly similar to last year. I don't know. It could probably play a little harder at times. Not maybe because the greens may be a little bit more firm and not as soaked as they were last year. I still think you got to get in the 20s to win. Probably high teens to top 10 for sure. Something like that. 16, 17, 18 under to be in the top 10. Cut around -3, -4. I could see it. I don't know if it gets to the 6 it did last year for the cut, but 5 wouldn't shock me. I kind of lean 4. Feels like a good number for the cut number, -4. Trending to be the highest owned right now, Burns, JT, Scheffler, Willie Z, and Hadwin. Probably no real big surprise there. Some potential sleepers and low-owned guys that I like right now. Swafford, I got around 3 to 4%. Cheap guy and low-owned relatively. Coming in decent form at 35th and the 30th. I like him. Patrick Rogers, did some deep dive stuff on him. actually was one of the better guys, birdie or better last year here. Of the guys that made the cut, he was second worst in bogey or worse. So 10th at Mexico. If he can clean up, some of those bogeys or a double bogey, he definitely can score. And he did that here last year. He finished 47th, so it doesn't look as good. But when you start a deep dive and you're like, oh, he was second worst in total bogeys of guys that made the cut. So 2 to 3% for him. I don't mind that. Sam Ryder has been a DFS darling. Now I got him, may not flirt with 2%. So I know he's not in the best form at times, but he's still 7th par 5 DK scoring, 24th birdie or better, and opportunities inside 18 feet, 30th, 18th in bent putting. For that low ownership, that's definitely a good MME play. Lebioda, 2 to 3%. I don't mind him. I think he finished 17th here last year. Mito, I think, is going way overlooked. 26th in birdie or better, 9th in opportunities at 18 feet, 26th at the RBC. 3 times he won last year on Korn Ferry Tour, and the winning scores were, I posted this last night, I think it was -20, -21, and -27. So he can go low. I'm not saying this is a Korn Ferry event, but it's definitely set up for scoring and all that kind of stuff. So maybe we get him in a big discount right there on a guy that's normally been high owned in some DFS darling stuff, and myself included. So if I get him 7-8%, I certainly don't mind taking advantage of that. And then Kokrak, 5 to 6%. I'm high on him, but I'm a little worried. This is anecdotal, but a little worried about the ruling from the PGA. Does that affect him mentally? But it could affect him good or bad. Is he pissed and said, all right, I'm going to go win this tournament? Since you guys are trying to deny us to be able to go play over there, or does he just not care anymore? I don't know. He says he likes money and wants to retire early. So my mentality is he probably still wants to win because he's going to get paid. He's going to come in super low owned, 4, 5, 6%, 9th in bent green putting. He's coming in with the 14th and the 35th. I get it. And if people don't like him just because of that whole LOV deal, whatever, this is about winning money for me as well. I'm going to play him. If he's going to be here and he's a good ownership and a good play, in my opinion, I'll play him. So unless I see a withdrawal for some reason, I'm going to go play him. Moved up the board for me, DJ, Xander, Shank, Bramlett, and Riley. DJ and Xander are going to be kind of leverage plays, and I'll be interested to see if Xander stays as low owned as I say low owned for him. DJ is going to be the lowest owned in the 9-10K range for sure. Well, definitely in the 10K range. Fleetwood may be the lowest owned overall, but they're going to be close. Xander's just kind of getting, especially now with Brooks out, Burns, Scheffler, and JT are getting so much love. And then you still got Neiman there. You still got Willie Z there. Willie Z is getting a lot of love. He's going to be top 3 or 4 owned. So you'll still have some pairings with Xander, but I think he stays, in that 14 to 16% own range, not 22, 23. So he kind of has climbed up for me. Not a guy I play a lot of, but this may be a good spot for it. And then the other 3 are just guys that would deep dive and things I looked at. Bramlett, Riley, and Adam Shank all moved up the rankings for me going into the final thoughts. Fader moved down. So I'm still working on the final rankings, ownership, all that stuff. I'll put that out later on. I think I'm going to fade 2 of the 3, Burns, Scheffler, JT. I think that's where I'm going to try to get my leverage this week. Play 1. I'd rather get overweight on some of the guys I generally like. So Neiman, Willie Z, who are going to be higher owned. Pick one of the big 3 between those 3, Burns, Scheffler, and JT, and get overweight on them so that I'm not just even on them. And the other 2, just fade them and pray kind of deal, right? It's those 3 are probably going to be 1, 2, 3 in ownership. You could have a guy or 2, creep up there, but I think they'll probably be the top 3 owned. I'm probably going to fade Scheffler in general. Just one of the highest owned, highest price. I get it. He's been winning left and right. Didn't play her too great last year, 47th. Is it just a tune-up to get ready for next week? I don't know. I don't know. That's all anecdotal to me. I think Burns will be the number 1 owned, and so that's where the decision comes down to Burns or JT. I like Burns' putting better, but JT can pop at any time. Burns is definitely cheaper, which is why I think he'll be the top owned, and then you'll see JT right below him. So that's kind of where I'm at there. So 2 of those 3 will be a fade. I'll probably fade McNeely and Hadwin. I get it. I see where everybody's at on that. But you start flirting with a 20% Hadwin, there's plenty of pivots around that area that I like that I'll take my chances there and see how I do there. Definitely will fade one of the two between McNeely and Hadwin as they're both right around the same price, 7,800 and 8,000. Staying strong for me, like I said, Neiman, Willie Z, Kazire, and Vegas are all guys, different ranges that I like. Leverage plays is pretty easy this week. DJ, Fleetwood, Brooks would have been right there. He was going to come in pretty low owned, I think. And then AK range, Kokrak and Day are both fairly low owned again. Prize picks, link is in the description. Dollar for dollar match, use the code GUP, G-U-P, get a dollar for dollar match up to $100. My round one play is going to be Xander under 69, DJ under 69, Wolf over 4.5 birdie or better. I like Wolf to get, the 5 birdies or better. He can eagle easily. I like that rather than a score because he has the tendency to get a triple out of nowhere or a double. Not saying he does that here, but I feel better about the over 4.5. Monkey Knife Fight, same link in the description. The code is GUPS, G-U-P-S, dollar for dollar match up to $100. I'm going to do the more or less, pays 3x your money, and I'm going to do the eagle or better. So this is for the whole tournament. I like Champ, DJ, and Burns. You get to pick 3 golfers. Combined, if they get 4 eagles or better, you win the bet, basically. And I think these guys that are longer and they can get on those par 5s can definitely get that. They get 1 each throughout the whole tournament. You just need 1 more from one of the 3, and you're good to go there. My final 5, one and done. Neiman, Xander, and Willie Z are kind of my up top. Probably starting to thin out on selections you have. We have got a major next week, so I'd make sure you kind of know what direction you may go there. I like Kokrak, and then I like Champ. I think, Champ gives you a unique, maybe Gooch, but I think Gooch would be popular. You could use him next week as well if you got rid of all your big dogs, but that's kind of where I'm at on one and done. Like I said, use the code PGA Champ, get you 30% off. We'll have all the final stuff out. Kenny Kim's article will be out shortly as well. He had a delay with his eye deal. Doing good so far. I've been talking to him, but I'll get all that out and all my stuff out today. If you need anything from me, hit me up in Slack or Twitter. And you guys have a blessed Wednesday and good luck tomorrow. Thanks.